fuel in here. Oh. Before we get in today's video, I do want to say the Rx7 does run in this video, so this is not clickbait. There will be a lot of talking and explaining in the beginning, so it does not run to the end. I would like if you guys watch the whole video so you see the entire process, because I don't know much of these engines or these cars, so I am learning as we go on through the video. We also got the hydraulics to work. I hope you guys enjoy the video. Let's get to it. What's going on, you guys? Welcome to another video on the 1985 Mazda RX-7. If you guys are new to the channel, make sure you go watch the last video where I pulled this thing out of the building that it had been sitting in for the past 3 decades. My dad built this RX-7 into a lowrider. It's on hydraulics, fully custom interior. It's a badass car. He ended up having a really bad fuel leak in 1996, and that's the last time this car was driven. It got parked in the building, and it had been sitting in that building ever since, until I figured out I was capable of getting this thing out of that building and letting it see sunlight for the first time in 30 years. Me and my buddies ended up getting it relocated into the shop here. We hooked it up to jumper cables and got the hydraulics to work, which really surprised us, because for this thing to be sitting 30 years, I was surprised the hydraulic cylinders weren't locked up or any of the lines weren't busted. It just really surprised us that they actually still worked after sitting for 30 years. In today's video, we're going to be trying to get this RX-7 running. Now, I do want to get this car fully detailed after it's running and driving. It is actually really dirty and dusty, but this is exactly how the car looked when we pulled it out. It was under this car cover, locked up in a building, so no weather got to this car. You can tell it is a very clean paint job, no scratches. But up closely, you can tell that it is very dirty. Especially down here on the flat spot, like on the bumpers. But what I want to get done in today's video is make sure the motor is not locked up. We're going to be checking the coolant, the oil, see if it has spark. And then we're probably going to have to drain the gas tank. See if we can flush it out with some new fuel. We also are going to have to get a battery for this thing too, because I know all the batteries that are in this thing for the motor and the subs and amps and also the hydraulic system. There's no way any of them will hold power because they've been sitting for 30 years. But if we get lucky and the RX-7 does fire up, we'll try to take it on a little test drive in the neighborhood just to see if it will drive and the transmission is still fine. It should, because it was perfectly fine when parked. The only issue my dad said the car had when he parked it, it was leaking fuel out of the fuel plenum, I think it's called, underneath the intake manifold. I'm hoping it's not really anything to do with the fuel injection. I'm hoping it's just like a hose where the fuel travels through. Feel like a O-ring or gasket, something came out. Hopefully a cheap fix. I'm sure it might be hard to find something for these cars nowadays, with being this car is 40 years old. So if we can get this car to turn over, we are going to have to troubleshoot where the fuel leak is coming from. You guys another look at the interior on this bad boy. Or girl, I don't know what she identifies as. So my dad did all this work to this car. Keep on slowly falling in love more and more with this car every time I see it. It's just like the perfect fit for me. It's like I could just see my dad driving this back in the 80s. It's not the only vehicle my father has built. I got a 1998 Chevy 3500 dually, and it's bagged out. It'll literally sit on the ground. That thing's dope as hell. I had several Mazda trucks, and all of them have been on bags or hydraulics. The only other vehicle other than the RX-7 that he still has is his lifted up Duramax on 40s and the dually I was talking about. I'll throw in a picture. I believe all the Mazda trucks either broke or he just sold them because he didn't want them anymore. But sometime in the future in another video, I definitely want to show you guys the picture books my dad has and all the trophies he won from car shows. There are so many cool pictures of all the work of him doing work to this vehicle, his dually, and the Mazda trucks. It's cool to look back at the pictures he took so many years ago of him building these vehicles and what they look like. A lot of these vehicles are literally like time capsules like this thing. This car is a legend. All my dad's friends love this car, and then they haven't seen it in so many years. I start posting it, and they all can't believe that I'm trying to live my dad's legacy on with the RX-7, trying to give it a good comeback, trying to get this thing back on the road. But without further ado, I'm going to pop the hood and the trunk. We're going to get the batteries out of this thing so I can run to the hardware store and get new batteries, coolant, and maybe starting fluid. And then I have to pre-mix some gas because I don't know if the pump system for this Rx7 is still going to be good with it sitting that long. I just want to be on the safe side, make sure it's still got oil in the engine. Alrighty guys, so I just left the parts store. I got the battery for the motor, and then I also got the 2 batteries for the hydraulics because I want to be able to let the hydraulics work if I get it moving and running. I also got some coolant as well. Here are those batteries. I'm gonna have to stop by the gas station and get some gas so we can put some fresh gas in this thing. I'm not gonna get the oil and spark plugs, air filters and all that stuff yet. I'm gonna wait till we actually get it started and it runs and drives. Once we know it does that, then I will change everything. Before I try to turn the motor over tomorrow, me and my buddies are gonna put some pre-mixed gas and try to turn the motor over by hand just to try to get some oil through the motor and on the seals, because we really do not want the motor to lock up when we start it. I'm gonna grab some McDonald's and then we're gonna hit the road to the house and we're gonna see if we can get this baby fired up. No ma'am. Can I get a 1/4 pounder 2 B meal with bacon and a large sweet tea?
It's all new to us, but it still works the same to an extent.
Yeah, this is like the dumbest shit I've ever fucking seen. It just throws air into the catalytic converter.
Alright guys, so me and my buddies managed to get the batteries squeezed back into the rear compartment. It was a very tight fit, so I do not know how my dad even managed to get those batteries in the first place. Me and my buddies got the Rx7 off the jack stands, and we ended up pushing it out right there. And all the hydraulics seemed to work just fine. I'll throw in some clips of me using the hydraulics. Box do this.
I told her leave her shoes at the door. I better not catch you stepping on my rug. I got the key wrapped up in a Louis V. Now they call.
So there you guys have it. The hydraulics do still work after sitting 30 years. Until we do have a leak right here under the compressor somewhere in here. Maybe some sort of seal is dry rotted or broke. And it is also leaking under the front driver tire, coming from this fitting right here. The threads or a seal on that one come loose also. It's definitely not too big of an issue. It's fixable. I will fix it over time, but we will work with what we have. For the battery for the motor, we got that hooked back up. All the lights do turn on. Now, I do apologize for not showing this on camera. Let's turn the key here. See, it all works. Headlights work. Yeah, headlights work. All this stuff seems to work. This TV was on earlier. The motor does turn over. Tail lights also work. First thing I'm doing is loosening this gas tank drain bolt. Seeing if there's gonna be any fuel in this thing, which I'm sure there is. I'm sure it's not anything good. It's probably all gunked up. Something's coming out. Oop, here comes some fluid. Dude, that gas looks good. Hold up. Shit. The gas doesn't smell too bad. I thought it would be a whole lot worse. It's not really gunked up that much, to be honest, either. See if we can find some more buckets. That's what she's looking like. She's like a, I don't know, like a brown red color. Honestly, it doesn't smell too bad. It seems like it's good gas to me. We are ready to fire this thing up. It also might still have the fuel leak that I was telling you guys about. Got a fire extinguisher right there. And we got another one right there. I'm gonna put some coolant in this thing and we'll see if this thing will start. We're trying to see if it's got spark now. Got this spark plug out. It is dry as hell. If the camera will focus. There we go. Yeah, it is super dry. I'm gonna test and see if these spark plugs will still get spark. I just don't think this motor's getting fuel, and that's why it's not firing up. I poured some pre-mix gas down into that cylinder. We're gonna see if this thing will fire up. Yeah, this thing's still not wanting to fire up.
I'll spray a little bit in there.
I don't think it's getting anything. Yeah, that's what I think. I think it's spark. Cause this should at least be catching that. It should at least be catching that starter fluid.
Still fucking put that damn thing over the fire.
Wait, y'all wanna go burn it?
Yeah.
It might pick it up there. Try it.
I hear it clicking. I don't see it. I guess just put your hand on it. It's getting sparked through the distributor, so we might have to check the spark plugs too. Other than that, we're gonna take this intake piece off and see if we can put some pre-mixed gas in there and see if it'll fire up. I got some 2-stroke pre-mixed gasoline right here. I got this intake off. We're gonna spray some of that in there. As y'all seen, it does have spark. If you guys can hear it, that is the fuel pump running. It was not doing that yesterday, so that is a good sign. You think it's gonna run? Probably. All right, let's give this thing a shot. I'll spray a little fuel in here. That should be enough. Here, the parking brake's on and it's in neutral. All right, you can give it a shot. Oh, sound like it. Let you do it. I'll film.
All right, Alex. Open the throttle.
Oh. It's getting there. We've almost got this thing started. Oh. All right, so it officially fired up. So we know this thing is gonna run. Let's see if this thing will hold an idle after sitting for 30 years.
I don't know, just because of that fuel
I bet you it would have.
The Rx7's alive. Look at all the smoke. Sorry, Otis.
That's probably about as good as it's gonna get with us spraying it.
Alright guys, so we definitely don't want to get this thing blown up or locked up with the apex seals and all the seals on this thing. They definitely need to get lubed up. I think before we let this thing run anymore, I need to clear out all the fuel lines, if not get new ones, new spark plugs, change the oil, also possibly getting a new fuel pump, fuel filter, air filter. Me and my buddies are definitely going to try to go through everything and get this thing running right so we can take this thing for its first test drive. So there you guys have it. We did get the Rx7 running after it's sitting for 30 years. So surprised and stoked that this thing still runs. In the next video, you guys will see servicing this thing, getting it everything it needs, going through everything, making sure this thing is ready to run and drive. If you guys enjoyed today's video, if you did, give it a thumbs up, comment down below this video, feel free to educate me on anything we said wrong or anything you want us to know about these motors and cars. Subscribe if you like the content and want to see more of this, and I'll catch you guys on the next video.